Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. Great to have you with us. The Marxist-run Media Matters for America is reportedly laying off dozens of employees after Elon Musk filed a lawsuit against the online political outfit. Media Matters is a nonprofit organization that spends their time and their money and their energy doing all they can to undermine the Republican Party and candidates, conservatives, and democracy. Media Matters cites its legal battle with Elon Musk as the cause for the layoffs and dismissals. Musk sued Media Matters back in November over its efforts to link ad placements on the platform to neo-Nazi content. Musk didn't appreciate that. It was a strategy the radical organization used to initiate boycotts against the income stream of Twitter, of also known as X. Media Matters president Angelo Carusone says the company's future is on very shaky grounds. He acknowledges that right now, and that is actually good news for democracy. More great polling news to start the week for President Trump. A new poll out of the Granite State of New Hampshire shows President Trump inside the margin of error with Joe Biden. As it sits right now, Biden is polling at 44%. President Trump right now is at 43% within the margin of error. And President Trump lost the Granite State back in 2020 by fewer than 3,000 votes in 2016 and by 59,000 in 2020. If President Trump were to pull the 4 electoral votes from New Hampshire, it would open up a far broader path to 270 electoral votes in November, making it much more difficult for the Marxist Dems to steal another election. President Trump making his push to flip deep blue New York. It's got to be deep blue New York. Those voters can be pried away from the Marxist Dem Party of oppression, and it's going to happen if President Trump's rally is any indication. Holding a rally in the heart of the South Bronx, or as one rally attendee called it, the Hood. Listen to this guy and the excitement in his voice to declare President Trump to be the first president to ever go to the Hood.
What are you here for?
I'm here to watch the Trump gathering rally here.
What do you think about him being here?
I think it's great. I think it's dope. From my generation, from what I know, this is the first time president has actually came to the Hood. I know presidents have came to the Bronx before, but we're talking about Woodlawn, Riverdale. He has came to Morrisania, South Bronx, the Hood. So I respect that.
President Trump telling the crowd of just about 25,000 or more that when he gets back in the Oval Office, he's going to get on the phone first thing to talk to the Marxist Dem governor and the Marxist Dem mayor of New York City and tell them he can fix this broken city. How can he help?
As soon as I get back into the Oval Office, I am going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call your mayor and your governor, and I'm going to say, this is President Trump, and I want to come back and help. Look, you have a Democrat governor, you have a Democrat mayor, and we are going to work with them, and we're going to get this state and this city at a level that it's never seen before, frankly. I think we can do that, too. We're going to be helping them a lot, much more than anybody would expect. It doesn't matter whether they're Democrats or Republicans, because this is about our city and our country, and it's really about the people. And in this case, the people of New York City, New York State. We're going to make you very, very happy. And Biden can't do it. He doesn't know he's alive.
Quite the rhetoric from a man the Marxist Dems say will rule as a dictator in his second term. What in the heck do they think that Biden Obama were doing? Our guest today knows New York perhaps better than any other. He's Mr. New York. He's host of the Mark Simone Show on WOR iHeartRadio. And now here is the fabulous Mark Simone, Mr. New York. It's great to have you with us, Mark. And let me just turn to the latest news out of the, I'm going to call it the Biden encampment, is that the President Biden owes over $800,000, has mortgages on his homes, and it looks like he's not so good with money, despite everybody sharing with the big guy, as his son famously laid a moniker on him.
Oh, I don't believe this for a second. He seems like a guy Warren Buffett would call for guidance. He seems like a mastermind of finances. Yeah, he's as bad as Hunter. Hunter's taken in millions and tens of millions. Yet he always seems to owe money. He's always got somebody paying his legal bills. If Biden, it turns out he got a mortgage on his house. I hope he didn't overvalue the value of that house to get that mortgage. You know what can happen there. If you can't even handle your own house, if you can't run your own budget, how are you supposed to run the economy of the United States of America?
Well, I think he probably was relying on the smartest man he said he knew, and that would be, of course, Hunter Biden. So it does look like he's been following some advice from Hunter. They're about the same financial shape, aren't they?
Yeah, and you think with a brilliant doctor that you're married to, she could help you and guide you there. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. We're just finding this out. I think a lot more stuff is going to come out. Who gave him that loan? Why they gave him the loan? I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to find out a lot about Biden's finances.
You know, I suspect you're right, because I don't recall ever hearing anything about his finances. You assume that a man who's been in office as long as he has, with all of his benefactor friends, that certainly he would be in a strong financial position. And as we look at it right now, this man can't run the finances of the country. He can't run his own finances, apparently. What are we dealing with here, do you think, Mark? I mean, really, this man seems to be utterly bereft of really talent. He is a puppet to his betters. That would be chief among them, of course, Barack Obama. He looks to me like a man right now on the edge.
Well, the most frightening thing is that video that he put out challenging Trump to a debate. It was 13 and a half seconds. I'm sure it was on a big teleprompter. All you do is read it. And there are 7 edits in 13 and a half seconds. The fact that he couldn't get through that in one take, the fact that it took 7 edits to piece that together, tells you how lost this guy is. And if he can't get through that 13 seconds without editing, how's he going to do a 90-minute debate?
Well, I have to ask that question myself. I believe me, I can't imagine how in the world anyone can take him seriously. There's got to be some sort of avatar within the White House that is the stand-in for a functioning president, that all of the Marxist Dems, they come in with drums beating and they salute whatever that avatar is and follow orders. The avatar may be a shadow, for example, of Barack Obama. I don't know who it might be, but this is a presidency that is off the rails. The fiscal policy of this country is a disaster. And right now, as we look at it, this government is a disaster. There is just no two ways about it. We don't have a foreign policy. We have foreign obligations, but we don't have policies or apparently any strategy. And then to see Anthony Blinken overstrumming a guitar in Ukraine is about as unsettling as it gets for me.
Yeah, I think this is all catching up with him. Everything they went too far, as Democrats always do. 4 trials against Donald Trump, not acknowledging the border problem, the inflation problem. They're really in trouble. I think we've never seen a debate in June. It's unheard of. Now, and anytime anybody suddenly wants a debate, it's always the guy behind. So they've obviously seen some real polling, some internal polling that scared them. And I think what really frightened them was Donald Trump's rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. It's out in the middle of nowhere, yet he drew 100,000 people. That's unheard of. I think that panicked the Biden puppet masters, and that's why they suddenly want to do this debate. I also think, why would you do it in June? It's never done before a convention. Right. I think they want to try him out, the puppet masters, and see how he handles himself and make the decision on whether he's got to be replaced. Because if you replace him, you'd have to do it at the convention. So you'll need the debate before the convention.
Need the debate. I would think, though, that all of the cards have been put in. They could just run it on an IBM 360. That's the most recent technology I'm familiar with, and come up with a really straightforward plan. Get rid of him now. And the problem with that plan is there's Kamala Harris, giggling and gaggling and ruminating on past glories somewhere in the state of California. I don't know what they're going to do. They cannot. I would think they cannot simply go over an African American woman who is the number 2 on the ticket and say, excuse me, we found somebody over here in Des Moines we'd really like to try out for president of the United States. I mean, that would be tough going. What do you think?
I think they could do it. These Democrats can do anything. They can put a porn star on as a star witness. They can do anything. The media will cover for them. I also think they realize they've lost the black voter. The black community is just not into Joe Biden. They love Donald Trump. He's like at 32% in the black vote. So I don't think they're going to worry about that so much right now. This Michelle Obama becoming the nominee, that's a rumor that comes from the donor world, and those guys always get everything wrong. So
either that or Donald Trump started that rumor, hoping it would take hold. Can you imagine her on the campaign trail with that bright, lively, sunny disposition of hers just beaming across the land? I can't even imagine it. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll be talking still with Mark Simone, Mr. New York, and we'll take up some other issues that are of some matter, including why in the world is Dan Goldman so involved in so much that is none of his business? We'll be right back.
Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals you can trust. And their new medical emergency kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. This medical emergency kit contains an assortment of life-saving medications, including ivermectin, Z-Pak. Rest assured, knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help you and your family stay safe from whatever life throws at you next.
So we're back. We're talking with Mark Simone. And Mark, I have to say, this Harrison Butker deal, the NFL is going absolutely berserk over this. All he did was be religious. He was speaking his faith and talking politics. And all of a sudden, Kansas City wants to run him out of town because of what exactly? It's hard to figure.
Well, these colleges, there's no diversity of speech. No, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld is speaking at Duke. They walked out on him. Could there be a more harmless figure than Jerry Seinfeld? No diversity of these colleges. And the NFL has been horrible about this. They cave in to the woke, to the left wing, faster than Joe Biden ever does. It's just horrible. They could put a stop to this thing. I mean, I can't believe in the middle of the heartland of America they would give this guy a hard time over a view that's held by half of America.
Yeah, you're right. And to see the nasty way they're all behaving, we're turning into a vicious verbal society. Hopefully we won't be any more vicious than we already are physically. But to see these assaults on people just because they hold a view and express it different than your own or different than the perceived majority, whatever it may be. There was a time in this country where people stood up and were proud of being independent, speaking their mind, having a voice in all affairs public in this country. And now we've got people shuddering in the shadows, afraid to express themselves or to be known to have a view. I have to give Harrison Butker a lot of credit because he came at it unloaded and there he was. And everybody, I'm sure, knew what he would be saying. And for the country to go berserk like this, well, it's not the country, but elements of the country, is to me appalling because this country used to be founded on free expression, the rebel. The individual who was rugged and free with his or her mind. Now you've got people shuddering in the shadows. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't offend anyone. Well, the hell with them if you offended them. It's part of the deal. Free expression, you react the way you want to. You've got the right of free expression. Say your piece. Let's see which one sticks. What happened to that view of America?
I blame the media, the mainstream media, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, all of that, the network, every mainstream media outlet. When Donald Trump came along, if you didn't like him, fine. Just say, here's where he's wrong on policy. Here's where he's wrong on this. Instead, they took the gloves off, and it was like a bad hockey fight, slamming him into the boards. It got more and more vicious, from making up stuff, from Russian collusion to whatever they could make up. And then once they normalized that kind of weaponized that kind of stuff, they used it on anybody and everybody. Anytime they disagreed with somebody, it wasn't here's what's wrong with this policy, let's wipe this guy out, let's destroy his reputation. And you're seeing that here. Even in the NFL has jumped into this awful, terrible way of doing things.
Well, there are a bunch of silly son of a guns over at the NFL. They've got some precious folks working for Goodell that, I mean, are you kidding me? Who do these people think they are? I mean, they are sitting on a mountain of money. They are as privileged as you get, and they are demanding, they have dicta at the NFL, which requires you to fall in line with their political views and all of the other crap that goes with it. But think about this. I mean, the NFL represents a political philosophy. Why should anybody put up with that? They should be, without question, challenged across the board for their politics. I mean, we're seeing corporate America buy into it too. I'm guessing that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, has just about cured corporate America of their foray into the public square for argument and controversy. They need to get back to running businesses and building wealth instead of creating nonsense.
Yeah, Donald Trump said, you go woke, you go broke. There's never been an exception to that. Corporate America better take a look. Anytime you go woke, you're going to go broke. You're going to lose business. The NFL is really going to have a problem with this. They're trying to make some kind of big deal. I think they're trying to leave network TV. They're trying to make a massive, unbelievable deal with Amazon or Netflix or somebody like that. But Roger Goodell is not the best guy to lead this. He's a humorless, cold-hearted guy. The owners love him because he's a ferocious negotiator. He's unbelievable.
He's made him a lot of money. He's made him billions of dollars.
He's made him a lot of money, but he's hurt them in many, many ways.
Yeah, I agree. The reality is those football players have done pretty well for them too. I mean, to think where this sport is now, they've got all of their little sayings. I mean, it's almost like, this is supposed to be the pinnacle of professional football, the NFL. And then you see all these half-baked saws stamped on the back of their helmets. It's as if the guy behind you can read what he wants to say next. I mean, it's really insulting to the sport and frankly, to the fan base. Why would you want to do that? Do they think they're saving America? Do they think their voices are critical? It's absolute poppycock. Their voices are ancillary to just about everything except the scouting reports and the scores on Monday morning. So there you go. Jake Tapper. I'm just fascinated by this. Jake Tapper is going to be, along with Dana Bash, moderating the presidential debate. There are two lefties with card-carrying credentials. What in the world would make Donald Trump say okay to that?
Well, there's not much choice here, and he's fearless. He's absolutely fearless. Jake Tapper has called Trump Hitler. He said the worst things in the world. Now, some people say, well, if you wanted a fair and balanced guy at CNN, who is there? I don't think there isn't. Last one there was you. I don't think there's anybody there who's fair and balanced. So
I agree with you. And it's hard to find anybody fair and balanced, period, in terms of media, because all of them are working for their corporate masters. And you see it reflected in the news content, the choices that they're making. Trump is debating all of the networks plus all of their, their little. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Jake Tapper is, he's a lefty with a heart. I mean, isn't that wonderful? What else has he got to say for himself? Come on, we're going to come back with Mark Simone in just one moment. Stay with us and we'll figure out just exactly how Donald Trump should handle this moment in history.
Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals you can trust. And their new medical emergency kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. This medical emergency kit contains an assortment of life-saving medications, including ivermectin, Z-Pak. Rest assured, knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help you and your family stay safe from whatever life throws at you next.
We're back. We're talking with Mark Simone. And Mark, I just wanted to say, I mean, a bag of cocaine discovered inside the U.S. Capitol Police headquarters. We now know how maybe that cocaine made its way over to the White House that no one ever seemed to want to take ownership of. You would think that there is in this country right now in Washington, D.C., every kind of crime, every kind of nonsense. To me, just stepping back and watching what's happening, and I'm not talking about it as a partisan, but I mean both political parties, the bureaucracy, the environs of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital looks broken and beat and dismal and tawdry. What is your thought?
Well, that's the problem in the debate. You know, knowing CNN, they'll try to rig the whole thing. They'll ask about stuff people don't want to hear about. They'll ask about transgenders. They'll talk about that stuff. And Trump will just look right into the camera and say, look at what they want to push on you. And then he'll get to that. Crime, your streets are dangerous. Drugs are all over the place. Shoplifting is illegal. Your kids are afraid to go to college. He'll just appeal to people and win over a lot of independents that way. You know, nobody ever thought they'd live in New York City. You can't walk down the street without smelling marijuana everywhere. Cocaine is turning up in the Capitol, the White House. Shoplifting is totally legal. Criminals are released. No bail, no jail, all this stuff. That's where Trump wins this debate and this election easily. He may even win New York State because of that.
Well, that's an interesting forecast that he could. And I don't disagree with you, because right now, I'll put it this way. In my usual charming way, even the left isn't sufficiently moronic to continue with more of Joe Biden and his hapless helpers. There's nothing he's done that he's done right. He has offended all of our allies. He has, in point of fact, created no policy that looks beyond illegal aliens. And as we look at what the sum total of his 3.5 years almost in office amount to, it is he turned over the border to the Mexican drug cartels. He has simply backed Ukraine in a war that is right now, it looks like they're going to lose that war because he's all about half measures. There's no thinking. I mean, I see Tony Blinken in Ukraine, and I wonder, why don't they just keep him? Because he's of no use to us. Why not, think about that possibility? Maybe he could really help them if he were there on a daily basis. He's not going to be. There's just one mess after another, and no response to the challenges from communist China. We're watching right now this country at its very worst moment, I believe, since before World War II.
Well, in this debate, Biden just lies about all these things. He'll claim he had the toughest border bill ever and it didn't get passed. He'll claim inflation was 9% when he took over. He gets away with it in the media, but try that with Donald Trump standing there and see what happens. I don't know how he's going to get through this debate. Those lies will get torn apart by Trump. The moderator will try to jump in, but it's not going to work. People will see that.
I think you're right. It's going to be a 3-on-1 though. Game. There's no doubt about it. It'll be Dana Bash and Tapper siding with Biden, giving their cluck, so ever so earnest left-wing superior gazes into the camera. I wish he would have done just taken a deep breath before he accepted the challenge and said these are the preconditions, because to play these games with these fools is, to me, ultimately, it's demeaning of him. And that worries me most.
Yeah, when he says right in front of the camera to Biden, you let all the criminals out of jail. You don't arrest any rioters. And I got 34 counts against me because of what I wrote on my check stub. That's going to hit Biden hard. And I don't know how he responds to that. And if he tries to bring up the fact that Trump's on trial, Trump's indicted, just look at him and say, it's your guy. Your guy came to New York to run this indictment. You're the guy doing it. It's not going to work for Biden.
I don't think so either. But I do still hate the fact that he's got to go through a litany of nonsense to whether it be at ABC News or whether it be at CNN. They're all in the same kettle, and it's a fine kettle of fish indeed. It's just horrible to think about what he has to put up with when he could have dictated some terms, and I think still should, by the way. What's your thought? Should he make certain that there are some amendments in this deal?
Biden, make sure?
No, Trump.
No. Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be tough. I think Trump is just fearless. No matter what conditions they put on him, he'll be fine. He can out-talk anybody. Obviously, Joe Biden. I think he can really out-talk Jake Tapper. And if these hosts are unfair to him, which is usually the case, he's pretty good at pointing it out right then and there. So
and my problem is I recall how angry he was in that first debate with Joe Biden. I mean, he really lost his cool, and his anger was entirely understandable and by the way, entirely in order, except that you can't express that. And I think that's the great concern here, is that I hope that he would never repeat that performance, and he'll have to be on guard for it. The American people want to change right now. He's it, and to give this president, we'll call him, in the White House, even an opportunity, to me is dismaying. This should have been played much smarter. What do you think?
All they use against him are these lies. They've been using this crazy lie that he'll become a dictator, that he won't leave office, he'll never be able to get rid of him.
Yeah, who's the dictator? Yeah.
Last time he was in office, he not only left quietly, if you check the record, he left about 4 hours early. He left before he was supposed to. So whatever they try to claim he's going to do, he's got a track record. This is the first time we got two incumbents running since Grover Cleveland. But they're not going to – all these lies don't hold up when Trump is standing there. That's the problem they have.
Absolutely. Well, he'll give them hell, that's for sure. Mark, thanks for being with us here. We appreciate it as always, my friend. Mark Simone, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Be sure to join us here tomorrow for the Great America Show. Our guest will be top Republican strategist, longtime Trump advisor, Roger Stone. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Truth Social at Lou Dobbs, on Facebook and Instagram at Lou Dobbs Tonight. And please join us each and every weeknight for Lou Dobbs Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Thanks, everybody. God bless you, and may God bless America.